Today's project is trying to find the water ingress that's collecting in the passenger footwell of a 2004 GMC Canyon. We've confirmed the usual suspect, the high-mounted brake light is not a problem, but I couldn't be sure if the aftermarket roof rails might have had a leak in them, so I had a test using a tarp that I placed over the vehicle when it was raining for a couple of days just to confirm that it was not the source of the leak. After scouring all the internet forums, a lot of conversation came back to the cowl under the windshield wipers. I wasn't sure what I would find, but I decided to remove the cowl and investigate. The cowl itself is held down by plastic retaining pins. As you can see, there are 6 of them across the front, and there are some hidden ones behind the cowl that you cannot see. In order to remove the cowl, we also had to remove the windshield wiper arms themselves. To ensure I replaced the windshield wipers in the correct position, I put some yellow tape to indicate their position before removing. I then used a plastic trim removal tool that you can obtain from any automotive shop or online retailer to pull out the plastic pins. As mentioned previously, there are 6 pins in the front that are fully removable and 6 hidden ones behind that are part of the cowl itself. After the front pins have been fully removed, just reach under the cowl and lift up gently. The rear pins will release and the cowl will come free. The windshield wiper arms are held onto a spline shaft and not easily removable. I didn't have a windshield wiper arm removal tool, so I put one together with some spare bolts and a piece of scrap metal. Treating it like a miniature gear puller, I'd simply tighten the bolt down until the windshield wiper arm snapped free. Of course, if you wanted to buy one yourself, they're about $20 from your local automotive retailer. Next, using a 10mm wrench, simply unscrew the antenna. Finally, lift and remove the cowl cover itself. Should just come free. You might have to wiggle it to get past the windshield wiper bolts. I then used a garden hose to flush the entire trough inside the cowl to clean it all out and then inspect it for any blockages. You can see the fresh air intake chimney. It sits about 2 inches high above the bottom of the trough. At the very end of the trough, you can see the drain hole that was completely plugged up with debris before I flushed it all out. There are 2 drain holes, one on each side of the cab. After flushing the cowl trough, I had to clean out between the fender and the sidewall of the truck. This area was also completely full of debris. I did the same for driver and passenger side. After researching the forums, they offered no help as to what to do next. I eventually found a GM Service Bulletin that mentioned this problem. I've placed a link for the site in the notes below. The GM Bulletin recommends using a product called FlexiClear by 3M. I didn't have that. I used RTV silicone after narrowing down the general area where the leak was coming in from. I placed a generous bead of silicone in the metal seam between the 2 tape marks and then let that dry. I then applied more RTV across the entire metal seam from end to end of the cab, or at least as far in as I could physically reach. This required removing the entire windshield wiper mechanism. It's held down by 2 bolts and it takes a bit of wangling to get out, but it's not that difficult. I then put everything back together again and crossed my fingers to see if it would pass the final test. I just needed rain. Be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. After 2.5 days of solid rain, almost 4 inches worth, it was time for validation. What was I going to find? Pure joy. I went through an entire winter with water collecting in the footwell of the passenger side, and now, bone dry. Success. I wish the same for you too. Good luck.